So remember we said the first one was factors in cleaning. We're going to move on to key chemical agents to use in the shelters for sanitation and pest control. Okay, so I want to take a moment here to identify different words that you would typically come across that you may not know or understand. That is so important that we understand what we're using and why we're using them, right? Like, for example, we talk about vaccine with COVID right now. And we talk about the different types of vaccines. But we don't know what we're doing, or we don't know what we're sticking into our bodies. Are we doing it? That's not good. You have to identify what it is you put in your system. All right? And what you're going to put on your farms. So let's touch on them a little bit. There are 2 slides here. Yes, 2 slides that will talk about the different things that you would typically use in your farm. So, key chemical agents. An antiseptic is a chemical agent applied to living tissues to prevent growth and reproduction on microorganisms. Shelter personnel need to use antiseptic to wash their hands. Okay, they need to use. Just give me 1 second, guys. Right. There we go. Yeah. Shelter personnel, meaning personnel in farms, need to use antiseptic to wash their hands. Bactericides are a chemical agent that kills bacteria, and the bacteriostats are a chemical agent that inhibit bacterial growth and reproduction of bacteria. The disinfectants are a chemical agent applied to inanimate objects or surfaces to kill pathogenic microorganisms. Usually does not kill the bacteria spores. Now, the reason why I put that there is to really identify our product, because we will take this opportunity to do so, versus the regular disinfectant, bactericide, antiseptic, and fungicides. The regular ones, guys, are not capable of removing bacterial spores. The regular ones only can remove some bacteria. The regular ones do not always remove fungi or viral. BIOTECplus can. BIOTECplus is internationally certified to be able to do all of those things. And again, very importantly, when you look at this list here, none of them are as safe on your farms. They can be safe for some things, but not for all of them. And this is a class that we have surpassed. All right. So, and that's why I'm going through these, because I want you all to identify what you have been using before. Okay. So, fungicide, a chemical agent that kills fungi. A fungistat is a chemical agent that inhibits growth and reproduction of fungi. A germicide is a broad spectrum applied to chemical agents that kill microorganisms. Sanitizing agents, a chemical agent that reduces bacterial populations on porous and non-porous objects or surfaces. Now, let me make a very important point here. Sanitizing agents must be able to be applied on porous surfaces, which means like skin and feathers and blah, blah, blah. Do note that a sanitizer is not a disinfectant, and not all disinfectants are biomedical, which means they cannot be used around skin, and biomedical disinfectants are not all sanitizers. I know it sounds very confusing. So let me just break that down for you. Okay, again, sanitizing agents must actually be able to break down blood serum and be used on porous surfaces. Must. Disinfectants are for non-porous surfaces, meaning hard surfaces. Biomedical disinfectants must be able to be both, able to use non-porous and porous and be a sanitizer, meaning they must be able to break down blood serum as well in under 30 seconds. Unfortunately, you do not come across products like these. Fortunately, Biotech Plus has been manufactured 14 years and has gone through rigorous testing to be able to achieve all of those things. Meaning, applied on non-porous, applied on porous, breaks down blood serum in under 15 seconds and still acts as a disinfectant and a germicide and a sanitizing agent. So they are your advantages there, guys, right? So this is why also we thought it's so imperative to bring this workshop to you. Bring this workshop to you because now you have the opportunity to really use this product in your farms and really alleviate your problems and get better output, because once you do that, you're going to get more progeny. More progeny means more animals. You're going to make more baby chicks. You're going to have more eggs. You're going to have healthier animals, right? So all of those things you have there, right? So we're going to go on sporicide, a chemical agent that kills spores, virucide, a chemical agent that kills viruses, and of course the contact time is very important. Very many of them don't do it in a short period of time, and you have to evacuate yourself, you have to evacuate the animals and that sort of stuff, which makes no sense because you want your animals to be comfortable and in a particular area. Whereas with Biotech Plus, it is on contact, on contact, on contact. So key considerations. So we have cleaning and disinfecting processes, right? So generally, education is not carried out with the farmers where chemicals are concerned, which leads to the misinformation and high level of expenses. So if you're not aware of what to do, you're going to run into all the problems I would have mentioned earlier. I hope you recalled when we talked about these here, right? If you don't know how to fix these problems, you're going to run into these problems, right? You run into these problems, you're going to have more physiological problems and high mortality rates, all right? So we want to avoid all those things. So consequences of using the wrong chemicals or using them the wrong way can incur high costs due to death, corrosion, and overall hazardous conditions at your farm. We recommend you using products that are certified internationally. We recommend you use products that have been demonstrated fantastic test results for both safety and efficacy. And finally, we always recommend you always request verifiable certificates and MSDS sheets. And what do I mean by that, guys? You know what I mean by that? I mean, we live in a country where people make a lot of fake documentations. People come outside there and provide you with material and safety data sheets that are absolutely fake. But how do you identify if these things are real and they are of quality? These certificates must be verifiable. You must see where they came from. They must be dated. They must be dated. They must come from a verifiable lab. All of these things are important. So when you see, don't just go outside there and buy things, right? Because remember, at the end, I'm a factual person. I'm a realist. We'll provide these workshops for you. But not all of you might say, well, I want to buy Biotech Plus. And that's okay with us too. I'm just glad to teach you and improve your systems, your biosecurity systems, right? But when you go out to buy something else, because I'm not in control of that, right? Please, I beg of you, for the same point we made earlier, where you need to love your animals, go out there and seek the verifiable certificates. Seek the MSDX sheets that have that certificates to back it up. That is important. All right. Don't just say, oh, well, this have biomedical written on it. I'm going to use that. Or this have agri written on it. I'm going to use that. No. Because then everything we would have discussed here today, guys, would be completely negated. Completely negated. All right. And what will happen to? You spend a ton of money for nothing, right? So you and the MSDS sheet, MSDS that we have there, stands for Material Safety data sheet, MSDS, right? So very important, guys. You have to take note of these things, okay? So we're going to go on to the following slide. Still under cleaning and disinfecting. So with traditional chemicals, when one works well for one purpose, it may be actually totally ineffective with another. And again, that's bringing back to the point I just made. Previously, when I was discussing, I think it was 2 slides before, right? It was this slide, yeah. When I said that there are products out there that can do some things, but they can't do other things. So let's just give an example. Algae, fungus, molds, bacteria, viruses. That's 5 different things. There are products out there that can do maybe 1 or 2 of them, but they can't do all. But you face the problem of all those pathogens in your farm. So why not use a product that can cover everything holistically, if you understand what I'm saying? So again, you may not use BIOTECplus. It's your choice. But if you're going out there, you're going to spend a lot more money buying different products as compared to getting one that could cover everything, right? So you find that they may not be totally with traditional chemicals, one works well for one purpose, but be ineffective for another, right? Very few products are stable and non-toxic while being simultaneously economical and effective. So again, it's another advantage that you have with BIOTECplus that you will not see with other products. And if a product is of a superior quality, remember this point, guys, there is no need for it to be supplemented by any other product for disinfection. Listen to that. If a product is of a superior quality, there is no need for it to be supplemented by any other product for disinfection, right? As the disinfection would be effective if it is a quality product, okay? So, and remember also, a quality product has residual power, which means if you apply it today, it will continue to work for next week before you have to do another application. And for the majority, if not all of them, with the exception of BIOTECplus, don't have the residual power, guys. They just don't, okay? So common mistakes in applying a biosecurity plan. 1, and I want you to take note of this because we have all made these mistakes. We have all made these mistakes. Harsh chemicals. Same thing we were talking about before. You are buying things without understanding the backgrounds of them, without understanding the chemical backgrounds, without understanding the certificates or understanding the material safety data sheets, what they can do, and more importantly, what they cannot do. Harsh chemicals. First point. Overusing the chemicals and combining it with other chemicals. So you run into 2 problems when you don't understand what product you're using, because you're going to use too much or too less of it, and because the product is not of a particular standard, you have to use other products. And when you use other products and you combine them, you're going to run into real problems. Problems that, 1, the chemicals don't interact well. 2, the chemicals don't interact well with your animals. 3, the chemicals don't interact well with you, your skin, your respiratory system. 4, the chemicals don't interact well with you, your skin, your animals, and the environment. 5, the chemicals don't interact well with your water systems. 6, the chemicals don't interact well with your food systems, your storage, the actual grains. You see how many problems you run into? What does all of that add up to? Money. Money, money, money. You're going to lose big time. And on top of that, you're losing your animals. So, and that's just 2 points I made there, guys. That's 2 points, right? And the reason why this slide is so low down is because we would have gone through all these steps to mitigate these points before you start using your chemical. And if you use the wrong chemical, you mash up the whole system. Mash it up. by just using the wrong chemical, right? So now we're going on to not having a cleaning and disinfection routine. Remember what we said, cleaning and disinfection are two very different things. I want somebody, let me see how good you all are, if you're all listening good. Guys, somebody, please define for me the difference between, actually I'll make it easier for you. Can you give me a definition of cleaning? I would like somebody on the list. Somebody who didn't answer before. Come off your mute and give me your answer for what is the definition of cleaning. It is the, help you out a little bit, removal of, come on guys.
I believe you said it was the removal of like dirt and debris and
Correct, the physical aspects. Very good, very good, very good, very good. Now you see, workshops must be interactive, because we need to know that you are thinking. We need to know that you are understanding the different aspects, the processes. That is important. I need you as part of the workshop, most important to understand the processes. Okay, so, and the disinfection is the removal of, anybody else, can you remember what the disinfection was as compared to the cleaning? Disinfection is removal of the, I'm gonna give you a hint. Come back to the slide. It is removal of the pathogens. The pathogens that cause the infectious disease. All right, guys. God, you're killing me, boy. You're killing me, bad. Some of you all making your attempt, but we have quite a few people here. All right. So, not having a cleaning and a disinfection routine is detrimental, guys. That's very important. That is part of your biosecurity plan. All right. Your best practices in storage protocols. Your best practice in storage protocols. Now, remember we spoke about with the water and the food. Very important. Water and food storage protocols are key. Understanding implementation of your chemical in your biosecurity plan for your storages. So you see how all of these things are linked, right? And of course, not updating knowledge of products and best practices, which is what we mentioned here. Not updating, understanding the different chemicals, how to use them, having a biosecurity plan that is based on your chemical and use of your chemical in your farm. And remember, guys, it must be structured in terms of a timeline, because you can't say, as we mentioned very early, maintenance is key. You can't say you're going to do it Monday of this week and you're supposed to have a structure for Monday, Thursday, every Monday and Thursday, but quite next week Thursday you decide, oh gosh, I'm going to do it now. Yes, no, can't do that. You can't do that, because there is a specific regimen that you must follow. Think of it as yourself. If you eat in the morning and you don't eat for the next 2 days, will you be operational? Would you be productive? No, you won't. We humans have habit. We need routine and regimen, and similarly, our animals, our livestock need the same in order for them to be productive. Always, there's an old saying: put yourself in somebody's shoes and you understand how things operate. Same things you would want to do for yourself, guys, you have to do for the animals as well. Remember, they are living, they are breathing, they have to eat, they have to drink, they have to live in an environment that they have comfort in, where they can grow and be productive and be successful. And it is to our advantage that we treat them the way they're supposed to be treated. And they are more technical in a sense than we are, because they can't tell us, hey, look, I'm hungry, or I'm not feeling well. They can't tell us that. right? So we have to now be able to identify or mitigate by putting systems in place, protocols, right? This is why it's so important, okay? The biosecurity protocols are so important, right? So great. So moving on. So guys, so we are almost at the end of it, okay? So now we wanted to just take a recap, excuse me, and talk about how Biotech Plus really will make such an amazing change in your farms. All right. Everything that we would have spoken about in the entire workshop today is about mitigation, control, and prevention. Okay. So systems that you have would allow the ABCs that we mentioned earlier, which would be the before farm, the in farm, and the after farm. What happens is we will have transmission of pathogens, meaning virus, bacteria, algae, fungus, mold, at some point in time. How we place our regiment in terms of in terms of our biosecurity protocols will dictate how we are able to manage our farms with these different types of pathogens, because they do exist. But how we do our regimen dictates our management overall. As I mentioned to you before, there are many chemicals that exist outside there. Many chemicals. But they can only do a few things. And they are toxic. Most times they are not biodegradable. Most times they are so harsh that they are abrasive and they damage your animals as well as the materials. They cause rusting and they cause damage to actual materials, right? Like wood and so forth. Now, in contrast, Biotech Plus gives you, actually it gives you 30, but we're giving you 18 here, things that it can do for your farm. It is a bactericide, right? And also, as I mentioned before, it is the only product that can be directly applied onto your animals, meaning it is also a wound healer. You apply it onto the skin of the animal or the feather of the animal, and it gets rid of all the pathogens that will be on the surface of the animal. It's completely harmless. And as you will see here, it is also air purifier and deodorizer, so it reduces the smell. So let's touch on the 18 points here. It is a bactericide. We spoke about what a bactericide is. It is a biocide. It is an antiviral agent. It is an algicide. Remember, we spoke about the algae in your water systems, right? It is a fungicide. We spoke about the fungus on your food and the grain. It is a mildewicide. Again, these things affect all the environment where your poultry would be. It is a disinfectant, which means it carries out the entire generic removal of all forms of germs. It is a deodorizer, guys, because it's going to remove the bacteria and the fungus that would cause the smell in the first place. It is a decontaminant, which is why you use it in your water systems. It is also a food rinse, so fantastically, all your troughs, every area that you're going to put your food in, you can apply it in there with the different dilutions. It is a sanitizer, which means it's going to break down all these it can bring down first of blood serum, very, very importantly, which can cause transmission rates. So once you break down the blood serum, it can then break down the virus that would be in the animal as well, or any form of pathogen, so to speak, that would be there. It is a sterilizer. What would we sterilize? We would sterilize all of our application systems that would be used to wash our water troughs, our hoses, our food containers, anything that we would use to typically transfer material from one area to the next. Again, that would also be a step, a glass cleaner. And note it says 1 step, which means BIOTECplus does not need to be washed off. BIOTECplus, let me give you a good example. BIOTECplus is used in the country right now in juice factories to clean the juice lines every time. They rinse with the BIOTECplus dilutions and they run the juice through it and they put the juice in the bottles and you buy your juice in the grocery. BIOTECplus is used in groceries across Trinidad and Tobago, where they take all the fruits that they import, like your strawberries and fungus. If you go to any, I can promise you this, any supermarket where you don't see fungus growing on the strawberry and the strawberries and the grapes, I can bet your life they are immersing the strawberries and the grapes in the BIOTECplus solution before they repackage it and put it on the shelf. So what that does, it removes the bacteria and the fungus and prevents the fruit from spoiling and rotting. You get a longer shelf life with it as well. So that's what we mean. And you don't have to wash it off. There's no washing off, right? So again, you have that opportunity there, okay? So then you have the slimy side